Hey everybody, welcome back to Belle's Library. It is Saturday morning. It is a warm but overcast day outside. You guys can probably hear all the birds in the background. It is a beautiful day today and very cozy. And I had plans this morning on getting up and just reading all day long. And I'm still hoping to be able to do that here in a little bit. But I woke up to a comment in my email and it really got me thinking. It got me to write out a response and make the response video and all these different things. It inspired me. And so I wanted to share these thoughts with you guys. And then I'm gonna go read. Now, before I get to the comment, I want to say that it didn't offend me. And so that's not what this is about. This isn't some kind of a response rant, against the person who left me a comment that I didn't like. That's not all what this is. I'm not even that kind of person. What this is something that got me thinking about our community, our BookTube community as a whole, and what it's going to take to survive and thrive in this community. And that's what I want to share with all of you today. I'm hoping this will be an encouragement. Now, the first thing you need to know, if you are new to BookTube or if you did not realize this, that on YouTube, when you leave a comment for someone and you hit send, that comment goes to their email if they have that option turned on, which I do because I tend to miss comments if I don't have the email option turned on. That means that even if you go back and delete your comment or edit your comment, if you have sent it and posted it, it's gonna go to the creator's email. And then, your edited comment will go to their email as well, but you want to be really careful before you hit send that you actually want that comment to go to that person, okay? So think about it a little bit, reread it before you send, because when I went back to respond to this person's comment, they had deleted it. Now, normally I just ignore that. I'm like, okay, everybody is free to change their mind. I wouldn't want my thoughts held against me if I was, changing my mind or rethinking things. I wouldn't want to be held accountable for that. And so normally I just ignore. But this one really got me thinking about some things that I think need to be said. I haven't heard anybody say this, though I am positive lots of people have. But anyway, okay. So I've been here on YouTube a long time, about 10 years, and I run a ministry channel. And on that channel, I get all kinds of comments, that are negative and against me and really hateful sometimes and really crazy. And this comment that I got today wasn't hateful, but, just a lot of crazy. So I've developed a thick skin. This isn't what that is about. I'm really familiar with this, but I think I can offer an important perspective. We don't have to be afraid of our comment section, but we also don't have to make it a bigger deal than it is, right? It's just people sharing their thoughts just like we are in our videos. So, okay, so here is the comment that was made. This person says, wow, you're really closed off to and seemingly offended by anyone who thinks differently than you about anything important. That's really off-putting. So this comment was made on my hot or not tag video. Okay, so on the hot or not tag, basically you have A to Z, and you have to, and they're each letter of the alphabet is something that has to do with a book, like a book genre. Like, A is adventure and C is children's and R is romance. It's like, you get the idea. Okay, so on each one of those, you say if that genre is hot or not. Do you like it or not? Like, the entire point of the tag is to share your opinions and personal points of view. So that's why I made it kind of funny and kind of ironic that was what this person was offended by, because I'm apparently, closed off to and offended by someone who thinks differently than I do about anything important. And so, like I said, this is not to pick on this person at all, but I really do want to address this because there are some overarching important thoughts and ideas regarding this statement that we really have to understand, guys, if we are going to survive here on BookTube. Now, we all have our different reasons for being here, right? Those of us who are creators, some of us just share the facts, like, this is a stack of books I bought, this is what they're about, buy, right? And no opinions whatsoever, just the facts. And then others like to share opinions, right? They give book reviews. This is what I thought about this book. These are its good parts. These are its bad parts. I have listened to videos where people say, I feel really bad for giving this a 3 or a 4-star rating. I'm sure the author had the greatest of intentions, and they're very sympathetic to the author, right? And then I have other people who are just like, this book is disgustingly horrible. It's such a pile of junk. I'm kind of more that kind of a reviewer, mostly because, I don't know, I'm really bad at like PR. I don't really know what it is. I think I don't want to take the time to schmooze you and sort of smooth things over nicely so everybody's happy. So I just kind of share my point of view. And then some of us do tags, and the tags are really personal. Most of them are literally about getting to know someone on a personal level, understanding my personality, right? Because if all I am doing is sharing with you the books I read and possibly my opinions about them, there's a whole lot else to me that you don't know, right? And so the tags help us to kind of get to know each other on those levels, right? And sometimes you find out stuff you don't want to know about people. That's okay. I'm the kind of person who just puts it all out there, and especially on my ministry channel, I receive a lot of backlash. But for me, I feel like I'm being dishonest if I don't just keep it real. I feel like I'm not being myself if I'm not just keeping it real. But I would never expect other people to be that same way, right? We're all entitled to our own levels of privacy and, whatever we're comfortable with sharing. That's just me. But I share a lot of opinions on this channel, and I will continue to do that. I'm not the type of person who's going to try to hurt someone on purpose. But I'm sure that I say all kinds of things that people disagree with, and a lot of you do as well. I don't like everyone and everything, and neither do you. On this channel, I'm a commentator, and hopefully an encourager for the most part. If I'm going to be trusted, and let's face it, if I'm going to be interesting, I am going to need to be personal. Some of my favorite booktubers are people who see the world and morality very different than I do. Some of my favorite authors are the same way. In the tag video that this person commented on, probably the most offensive thing I was talking about was what I had to say about inspirational fiction as it pertains to Christian fiction. But if you and I had a personal conversation about my own personal beliefs and the way that I follow the Bible, you would probably be blown away by how strictly I take the teachings of the Bible as compared to most of mainstream Christianity. Just because I don't like Christian fiction does not mean that I don't like Christians or the people writing it or the people reading it or the places where it's sold. It just means that I don't prefer the way that Christianity and the Bible is portrayed in inspirational fiction. And I don't. To the point where I really am going to make a video about that because, But I'm trying to make the point that we are all individuals. And that should be celebrated. And as long as we are not setting out to harm or slander someone, that should not be censored either. I actually very much respect and appreciate the points of view of other people. I'm my own unique person, and I don't have to make those thoughts and opinions my own in order to appreciate them. I can disagree wholeheartedly and still respect and appreciate another point of view. In fact, I even search out other points of view for the very sake of understanding how other people think. I don't have to agree to appreciate, but I don't want to live in a closed-minded world where I'm just preaching to an echo chamber. In fact, when I look at myself, I believe that I'm actually the opposite of pretty much everything that comment said about me. While this BookTube channel is fairly new, I have been on YouTube for 10 years. I have lots of opportunities to interact with all kinds of different people. Like I said, I have a ministry channel, and it attracts a lot of opinions and thoughts for sure. But if there's one thing I've learned about YouTube or any other social media that has kept me successful and kept me positive about all of this, is learning to eat the meat and spit out the bones. Every time we turn on a video, we are seeing into the heart and the mind of the creator of that video. We make judgments in our minds about that person, and we decide whether or not they are the kind of person we want to listen to. If we enjoy, we keep listening. If we don't, we turn it off. We could even just click out and move on and not say anything. Or we can leave some kind of a comment to share our point of view. This usually starts a dialogue. It sometimes starts a fight if we let it go that far. But we always come away having learned something about interacting with people who are different from us. And I personally think that is a beautiful and great thing, especially for someone like me who doesn't get out in the community a lot. I have a lot of kids. I homeschool. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't get out there into all the different community activities and all the things that are offered, right? I do get to travel a lot, but I always go to the same place, little English villages where there's not a lot of interaction with other people. I've always lived in, relatively small towns that are mostly white Christian communities. I just haven't had the opportunity physically to get out and really meet a lot of people from a lot of different places and ideas and cultures and thoughts and backgrounds, right? And that's one of the reasons why I love to read. And that's one of the reasons why I love BookTube. So I'm going to take a minute and dissect this comment to show how it actually really applies to the person who left it. Again, I am not trying to pick on anyone, but I think it's so important that we grasp what's going on here. The comment says, "Wow, you're really closed off to and seemingly offended by anyone who thinks differently than you about anything important." Do you see how they are making a couple of assumptions that actually apply to them? By this statement, they are also seeming closed off to me, who thinks differently than them. In addition, they are assuming that what they think is important is more valid than what I think is important. And the truth is that what they think is important, and what I think is important is also important. Having a true respect for someone is understanding that even though we may see things differently, the fruit of our thoughts and feelings is what makes us unique. We can respect each other not by tiptoeing around and making sure that we don't offend everyone we come into contact with, but instead making sure that we don't personally attack anyone who thinks differently than we do. We hear, we contemplate, we eat the meat and spit out the bones. We move on. BookTube especially, and reading in general, is all about being exposed to new ideas. Anyone who spends time here has their own thoughts and opinions, and we choose to share them here in this free space. And that's the whole point. I am happy to clarify any statements that I make, so feel free to ask. Feel free to leave the comment. You don't have to delete it. I may not be your cup of tea, and that's totally fine. But keep in mind that we can all learn from one another, even those that we do not agree with. In fact, I tell my kids, everyone is a good example. They're either a good example of what to do, or they're a good example of what not to do. A friend said something recently about living in unity and community that really stuck with me. She said that living in unity is not walking like each other, but walking with each other. And I thought that was so good because you and I might not see things similarly, but we can enjoy the things that we have in common. Here on BookTube, we have a love for literature. We have a love for learning. We have a love for discovery. And even though you may be discovering something different than I'm discovering, or something that I don't even want to touch with a 10-foot pole, and vice versa, the fact that we are using this method of educating ourselves and just the pure enjoyment, the act of being entertained by someone else's creative words, we have that in common. That's a great thing to be celebrated. We can choose to shut the video off and move on. We can choose to leave our comments and our rantings and our opinions and our thoughts and our feelings in the comment section. But what we cannot do is condemn other people for sharing what is important to them. Because I am a follower of the God of the Bible, I believe He is the only one who has a right to judge. We can make judgments about who we want to listen to and who we want to be influenced by, but we cannot pass down judgment, if that makes sense. We can decide that someone is not for us, but we have no business telling them that their thoughts and their feelings and their opinions and what they chose to share is invalid and doesn't matter and isn't as important as ours. That's a very superior attitude, and it will not survive on BookTube or in most other areas of society. Just because we think we are right does not mean that we are, and with this kind of mentality, we will not survive as content creators, especially when we are talking about topics that are so personal. So those are my thoughts. Take them or leave them. Rant about them or like them, whatever you choose. But what I would ask you to do is not to belittle this person personally in the comment section. They are new to BookTube. They are new to making videos. They're obviously new to social media relationships. And they did delete their comment for whatever reason, hopefully because they had a change of heart and actually thought about some of the things that I've pointed out in this video. Please do not pick apart that person personally. But if you like, let's have a discussion about this topic. I think it's an important one. And I think that taking some of these things into consideration is going to help all of us survive and thrive on BookTube. I hope everybody's having a beautiful day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.